Hey guys, it's Jay. Welcome to the blog. This week I want to talk to you quickly about an interview that I did this week at work that really ties into what we've been doing with Big Deal's Weight Loss Challenge. I had a chance to interview two women that I have known kind of from the beginning of this journey, from when I first walked through the doors of Ascendo Fitness in Sydney. And that was about 30 days after surgery. So about 30 days post-op, you're able to start doing, a minimum of 30 minutes activity a day. And when I was starting this, I knew that for me, for consistency, for routine, that meant really for the first time in my life committing to a gym and committing to a program. So I went down to Ascendo Fitness and I met with Laura Boudreau, and she became my personal trainer. And from the get-go, she got me into this active living thing with the right mindset and with the right motivation. She taught me a couple of things right off the bat, and you've met her here. I interviewed her in one of the early blogs, probably the 4th or 5th week. But she taught me that to begin with, healthy living starts with education. It's amazing how much about the sheer mechanics of our own body and nutrition that most of us don't understand, and that most of us don't take the time to learn until it's too late. And what's interesting about Laura, and this came up when I interviewed her a few months ago, is that although she was working with me in capacity as a personal trainer, her passion and her specialty is actually for physique building. And she's been doing that with her best friend. I mean, they've been friends since elementary school. Amanda Morrison is coming up back this week off just a phenomenal rookie showing at the Canadian Bodybuilding Federation Nationals in Vancouver. In her class, she managed to place 2nd overall, which is no small feat for a first-time national competitor. She's been training for this for about a year and a half, and she started training after a back injury, and a doctor told her that she likely wouldn't be able to do anything more intense than walking. Like, a full exercise regimen was probably, out of the picture for her. So to see Amanda and the transformation that she's made with her body has been absolutely astounding. So when I was there this week and I was interviewing Laura and Amanda, Amanda said something that kind of clicked in me, and there's going to be a funny comparison, but for those of you who have been following this along and are losing weight yourself, it's going to seem funny for me to compare you and me to what Amanda has done. But ultimately, what folks who are into bodybuilding and physique development, what they set out to do is the ultimate test of control of your body, the ultimate test of manipulation, of setting a goal, targeting a location on your body, and working toward it. And really, in a broad term, that's just what all weight loss and all fitness is about. So it was interesting to hear Amanda, who started out, obviously, as a healthy person, but someone with an injury, right? And so many of you who I've talked to over the last few months have been kind of hanging, and I don't want to use the term excuse, but who have been saying you've had sore knees and sore feet and, other medical ailments, and there's a lot of truth to all of those, but it's an opportunity for all of us to say, is it truly limiting me, or am I limiting myself because of that? And for me, I've had knee trouble for years. I busted my knee open when I was younger, and have always kind of used that as an excuse. And I have to say, it didn't take a lot of weight coming off of me to remove all of those problems. The back pain that I had, the knee pain that I had, so much of that was just made worse by the weight. And if you battle through it long enough to get those first pounds off of you, it really all does come together. And for Amanda to show that you can go from having a doctor say that an injury is going to keep you from doing anything more intense than walking, to becoming second in her class at nationals, the true test of development, the true test of stubborn determination, to hone her craft, to go through the Nova Scotia Association, to get placed at Atlantics, to take the criticism of the judges and the constructive critiques that they give at each level, to use those with Laura's education and Laura's formulating of a plan both for training and for diet, and to put those together in a way that shows it's possible to control your body at any stage, and that it's possible to move it toward a goal at any stage. And that for you, if you're watching this and you're overweight and you look in the mirror and you see a physical shape that you're not happy with. So much of what I talk about on this blog is all about what's happening in the ticker, but a big motivation for this is just physically how it all looks, right? for so many of us who would look in the mirror and not at all be happy with what we see. You know, and this is presented as a female issue, but, you know, body image is absolutely a male issue. The number of guys I've heard from who responded to my video of taking my shirt off at the beach for the first time in 10 years, that's absolutely something guys relate to. You know, even I've heard from guys who are my age who that's a new thing for them. It's only been in the last 2 or 3 years, as they've been, you know, hitting their early 30s and the beer, you know, belly has been showing up and all of that, that they've started to get self-conscious of that. But it's a huge mistake to say that body image issues are, you know, are targeted specifically to women. Women are specific targets. You know, I don't know that guys have it as bad from magazines, but in terms of, you know, the celebrity culture that we live in terms of the standard of what a man looks like and what an attractive man looks like these days, it's so different from what reality is for most of us that it does seem daunting. And a lot of guys just kind of take themselves out of that equation. They remove themselves from it. And that's certainly been a story that I've heard from so many guys who have written in since I've started this challenge. So for us who look in the mirror, we see, if you can see the shape that you are, the size that you are, if you can see that as a challenge, if you can envision what you want that to look like. You know, we've talked about the mental aspects, we've talked about doing it for health, but there is a great deal of motivation and self-competition that comes from just physically looking at yourself, honestly, standing in front of a mirror and saying, this is what I'm starting with. This is what I've got today. This is where I want to go. And that, at the heart, is what Laura and Amanda have done. There's nothing stopping that same self-determination, that same stubbornness, that same competitive edge to motivate us, right, and to move us forward. And I can certainly say that that's a big thing for me, and that's helped me in my journey. A lot of those issues can be mental, they can be social, and they can be, you know, helped just by being active in any way. But what you really want to make sure is that the goal that you're measuring your success by, right, if you're it's the same argument with the scale. If you're getting on the scale every day and not seeing the results you want, but you're not putting in the work into a plan that's actually going to produce those results, those specific results of weight loss, then, you know, your measure of success isn't in line with the work you're actually putting in. You could do the work successfully and still not see that end result. It's the same thing for, you know, how you look. When you're starting out as incredibly obese as I was, what the doctors call super obese, which again sadly doesn't come with a cape, when you're at that point, really in the initial stages, it's just about dropping weight. And you have no real control in the early stages of where that weight is coming from. And honestly, you don't care where it's coming from. You're just happy to see the numbers go in the right direction. But the further you do get into it, you know, take a look at this graphic. It shows what 5 pounds of fat looks like versus 5 pounds of muscle, right? The fat takes up a lot more space than the same weight of muscle. So it does become about toning. It does become about shape and composition and targeting certain areas. And Amanda can teach all of us a lesson. What she has done in transforming herself, the same motivations that moved her, the same commitment that drove her to that success, that's exactly what we need to find. So while you may hear her story and say you're never going to stand on a stage at Bodybuilding Nationals, you're never going to put yourself out there in that way, those specific targets of getting that kind of body aren't what you're going for, I get that, but don't let that overshadow the fact that there is great inspiration to be had in that story of someone who looked in the mirror and said, for this particular task, I see my body looking differently, and that I'm going to lay out a program, I'm going to commit to it, to shaping my body to be what I want it to be. And as long as that's realistic, and that's the importance of working with professionals, Amanda had Laura, you have your family doctor, your nutritionist, your trainer if you're a member of a gym, it's important that you have somebody to help you make sure that the goals you're setting, both mentally, socially, and physically, are actually achievable through the plan that you're on and through the program that you're following. Otherwise, you are going to constantly get frustrated with yourself because you're putting in the work and you're not getting the results. It would be as if Amanda looked in the mirror and wanted that, you know, that body that was ready to compete in nationals. If 18 months ago she had that image in her mind of what she looks like today, but then went to the gym every day and just did half an hour on a treadmill, well, that's not how you get that body. That's not what it takes. So make sure that the plan you're on, the program you're working, is part of a bigger picture that includes what those goals are. And if they're not physical for you, then that's fantastic. But you still need to have that clarity. You still need to be just as sure about what success looks like. Because if you're not crystal clear about what success looks like, then your plan isn't leading you towards something that's going to make you feel successful. And if there's any gray area, if there's any doubt about what success looks like, then you're not going to know when you're there. You're not going to know when you're walking away from it, when you're making decisions that are taking you off the path toward that goal. It really is about goal setting, about being realistic, and working a plan that's moving you toward the success that you want. So take some time. Do a bit of an inventory about exactly why it is you're in this. Is it just that you're trying to get healthy? Is it that you're trying to lose weight? Is it that you have clothes that you want to fit into? Is that there a body type that's realistic for you that you're trying to achieve? You know, a certain level of fitness or a certain, degree of being toned that you want to pull off with the body that you have that you just haven't before or that you don't have now. Make sure you're working with someone to make sure that those goals are realistic and that you're on a plan moving you toward those goals. Otherwise, you're setting yourself up for failure because you're going to be frustrated constantly. So congratulations to our friend Amanda Morrison and to Laura Boudreau as well for the incredible work that she's done. All of our friends down at Ascendo Fitness. And we thank them this week for showing us, a big lesson in goal setting, in being, that personal inner drive, and the importance of working with professionals to keep yourself on course, encouraged, motivated, and walking towards success every day. We'll see you again next Friday.